Hello everyone, welcome to this Week in Stupid for the 5th of July 2020. We have a lot of ground to cover today, so let's begin with a very important announcement.
Go to a riot and you get arrested, pee in the cop cars. They can't press any charges on you. It's not illegal. And once a cop car is peed in, it goes out of commission for cleaning. If everyone who got arrested peed in the cop cars, there would be no more cop cars.
Okay, so we finally have the answer to the question.
Bad bird, bad bird. What you gonna do when it comes for you? Bad bird, bad bird.
You're going to piss in their car, little Polly. That's what you're going to do. You're going to say, "Officer, stop. I have a full bladder and I am not afraid to use it." I've been doing this Week in Stupid for a while, but pissing yourself to own the cops. This is a brand new hot take. Now, in the battle against racismus, many corporations took a real stand and they changed their avatars with black and white. They had very heartwarming statements. But they also got a lot of criticism from people saying that they're not doing enough, expecting more. And here we have L'Oreal stepping forward to end racismus once and for all by removing words such as whitening from skincare products. Now, I was on my way to home and I was traveling in the bus and I saw a woman crying. And as you guys know, I'm a very empathetic person. So I decided to go there and ask her what's wrong to see if I can help in any way. And as I start talking to her, she tells me that those were tears of happiness because she works at L'Oreal and she feels absolutely humbled by the opportunity to be a member of the company that has managed to end racismus. And as she says this, everyone in the bus turns their head and look at her and they thank her from the bottom of their hearts. They approach her, they put their hands on her shoulder and they thank her for her immense contribution to humanity and for being another person in this company that has finally managed to end racismus. Meanwhile, white supremacists all over the world are in major disarray as Call of Duty removes the OK gesture from its latest installments. I think this is a massive blow against this vile ideology. And a lot of people are just going to stop being white supremacists because how can you be like that when you cannot make the OK sign in a Call of Duty game? So, tops down to Activision Blizzard for making this immense contribution to humanity, and I applaud them. I will not buy their game because they're shit, but still I do agree with the stance that they have decided to take against racist symbols and paraphernalia. Now, if you go on YouTube and you search the Young Turks, Washington Redskins, you will find several segments where Cenk Uygur, Anna Kasparian, and other people that I don't know are explaining to us how they cannot sleep at night because this name invokes racismus. So it's very problematic for them to have a normal life because a football team has the name Washington Redskins. Well, now I guess they will be able to return to their normal life because finally in 2020, the team will change its name. We will return after a very short commercial break. Please stay tuned. Do not change the channel.
How do you feel about all the stuff that Trump said?
The rise in anti-immigrant sentiment, that's pretty much, it's raised fear amongst our communities and things like that. It brings back memories and history. So, of other leaders, of other groups, people that have rose to power and have done much worse, such as the Young Turks. So, which is
very interesting. I'm sure it would be very entertaining, but we do want to focus on the election.
I actually do want to quickly respond to that because I think it's an interesting concern.
Have a seat. Have a seat.
No,
so
it's
he
okay.
brought up a question. And
So we worked really hard on this episode and.
All right.
Okay,
So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have more questions from the audience, from actual students, after we come back from this.
So we have learned that we have two types of students. On one hand, we have the actual students, and on the other hand, we have the non actual students that happen to know history. So within the Ottoman Empire, there was this problematic political movement called the Young Turks. Now, how should I put this in a way so that the YouTube algorithm doesn't decide to punish me? The Young Turks were a little bit prejudiced towards the Armenian people. And as such, their name has become problematic and carries a baggage, such as the Washington Redskins. Now, I understand why some people think it's hypocritical for the Young Turks to attack the Washington Redskins, but to maintain their brand as the Young Turks. And here I will come in order to give the answer that Cenk Uygur didn't. Okay, here it comes. The Young Turks are busy fighting racism, you bigot. Like, they are an important pillar in deconstructing the racist systemic of his systems, which happens to be the United States of America. So they do not have the time or the resources to rebrand themselves. Using resources to rebrand themselves means that they would take away resources that would be better spent at fighting racism. Meanwhile, the Washington Redskins are just a football team. They can't afford to spend a little bit of their time and a little bit of their resources in order to rebrand themselves. All right? Like, can we finally bury this problem and put it to rest, Tim Pool? Is it okay, Tim Pool? Like, can you stop asking dumb questions, Tim Pool? Mini beanie, just shush and know your betters. Now let's move over to cancel culture and see who got the axe last week. Apparently, Atheism Is Unstoppable has been stopped, and many people on Twitter were wondering what did he do wrong because it wasn't clarified. And I think I know what he did wrong. As everyone knows, AIU is a fan of chess. As such, it is probably the fact that he was subscribed to this dangerous channel, which received a strike by YouTube for being harmful or dangerous. And we all know that harm and danger is like a pandemic, and once one person spreads it, other people can catch it. And this is where AIU got infected with harm and danger. So this is my rationale for why YouTube had to take down both of these channels. But I think like this is patient zero, like right here. This guy, this is the problem, okay? This is why society cannot be safe, because he uploads videos with chess. And we all know the problem with chess, right? Like, white moves first, horrible. But lucky we have YouTube to step in and prevent people from watching the chess podcast. So now I feel safe. I'm so glad I didn't find out about this channel until now. Imagine if I watched some of their videos and it would have done harm to me or put me in danger. Now, as you guys know, recently a lot of statues have been toppled, a lot of monuments have been destroyed, and a lot of people have raised concerns that this is destroying history. But it seems that the counter-argument from the wise people on the left was that history belongs in the museums. And the mob would never touch a museum because the leftist witches, which are in the museums, have erected a protective barrier of sorts, a force field against the mob from going in and actually damaging historical relics. But it seems that the force field is now weakening. We need more witches. More people need to convert to Wiccanism because, as we can see in this museum, we find out that Dickens was a racist. And the museum got defaced with graffiti attacking Mr. Dickens. So we need more witches to protect the museums because that's where I learned from the left that history is. It's not with the statues and the monuments that were built hundreds of years ago. No, those can burn. Even the statues of elks, I think like this elk symbolized racismus and had to be taken down as well. But the museums are what's important. So we need to protect the museums. Not enough witches. More witches, more force field. But I can see the problem. You know, the witches are spread a little bit thin right now. Like, some are protecting museums. The others are casting spells such as Hocus Pocus, Academic Delitus. And we have a scholar which is forced to resign because he delved into esoteric knowledge. He was researching things that you're not supposed to research, such as study that found police shootings are not biased against blacks. Now, we all know that if you get the guy fired, it contradicts his study. So, therefore, thankfully, this is not true. As such, we know that the shootings are biased, right? Like, you fire the this is how it works, right? Like, am I in the wrong here? I mean, this is how academics functions back in the USSR and back under the Iron Curtain in my country. If an academic stepped out of line and had like some problematic papers, no problem, you fire the academic and then the papers go away. So I'm really glad that finally society can breathe a little bit more easy. Can you imagine how dumb people at L'Oreal would feel, and any other company that had to change their name and remove words and rebrand and all that? Can you imagine how dumb they would feel if the study was true? Like, thankfully, the reputation, the integrity, and the honor of those companies have now been, I guess, whitewashed is the word that we're looking for. Am I using the correct academic? Okay. Meanwhile, Superman's butt cheeks might be quite clenched right now because the mob is coming for him. It's time to have a discussion about superheroes, because they're very similar to cops. Now, I wanted to have a discussion. I wanted to go to the comment section of this, but it seems that the comments have disabilities, so I love to have this discussion, Bliana Dr. Man, but I cannot, because your comments are closed. How can we have this discussion, Bliana? How can this proceed? Like, I'm willing. The heart is willing, but alas, your website is not. It's not equipped for discussions. But I think like the only superhero that is going to survive the cancellation might be the Martian Manhunter, because he can shapeshift into different personalities. And if he shapeshifts into Karl Marx, then they might leave him alone. He can also go for Friedrich Engels, I suppose. But the other superheroes not having the ability to look like the only decent people from history that matter, they might be in grave danger. So yes, Superman might have stopped the KKK, but unfortunately he is not going to stop the woke mob that are coming after him. Now, in other news, a charity boss is sacked for criticizing BLM. What did he say? Well, before I repeat his quote, I would encourage you to sit down, and if you have a plushie, make sure you hug it tightly, because what I'm going to say now is very emotional, upsetting, and it can be very hurtful for people that are caught unprepared. So take into account, this is not what I am saying, this is what the charity boss has said. In his opinion, and this is not my view, like I want to make absolutely clear that I do not endorse the view of this charity boss. He has said that BLM is a neo-Marxist organization that is set to destroy capitalism, and their actions are dividing communities. Now, of course, the actual righteous people, the open-minded and good, decent people on the left, have decided to attack his charity and make sure that the poor and the homeless do not get any more money from him until he stepped down. So the boss has been fired after this, and now the world is a much better place without such people at the helm. In fact, I think maybe in the future we can have legislation to punish people who have these horrible opinions. This is unacceptable. I mean, seriously, it's like, do you really want to live in a society where people can say these things? It's absolutely dreadful. I just, oh my God, I need to move to the next news because this is starting to upset me. A British comedian by the name of Graham Linehan has been banned from Twitter for saying that men aren't women. And of course we know this not to be true, because men are women. I mean, why would he post such falsehoods? Why would he poison the very fabric of society by spewing these lies? Jack Dorsey had to step in to protect us from comedians like Graham Linehan spewing these These horrible, horrible lies. I mean, look, even the ACLU said that when they're talking about women's health, they mean everyone who can get pregnant, not just women. Now, look, I'm not educated enough in order to talk about this. Okay, it's not my area of expertise. Now, I did finish med school, but I did not go to gender studies. So I would let an expert in this issue educate all of you so you can stop being such raging bigots.
Quantum physics is this incredible sect of physics, which basically, with like Newtonian physics, I think of it as like heteronormative physics, where it's basically like, what are the fixed universal principles that govern the world? If I do A, will B happen? What are the formulas that'll tell us anywhere in the universe what will happen if I input this? Quantum physics is equally a real sect of physics that basically looks at subatomic particles, so the very smallest things in our universe, not like the macro things, and they contradict basically everything that Newtonian physics shows us. So most famous experiment is the double slit experiment, where you fire an electron and it should go through the left or right hole, and then every now and then it goes through both at the same time, and we don't really know why. And subatomic particles are sometimes the same subatomic particle is in different locations at the same times. And quantum physics shows that actually reality itself is basically a majority approximation of what's happening subatomically. So when people spew the biological essentialism argument on me, like, particles themselves are non-binary and do things that contradict each other all the time. We just can't see them all the time. And that gives me a lot of comfort that, like, if subatomic particles defy constructs all the time, why should we believe in fixed constructs of gender or any kind of reality?
Speaking of penises, the fight against racism, while it's almost over after L'Oreal decided to change the wording of whiteness, we now have a different fight, which is sexual racism. So what is sexual racism, you may ask? Well, we have a guide here, and unfortunately, if you do not have the correct skin color according to the author, this is not for you. So you can skip this ahead. This is only according for the author. I didn't write this. I don't like writing books just according to melanin. But, you know, this is not a book written by me, so I'm just talking about it. So if you don't have the correct color, just skip past this. What is sexual racism? Well, apparently, it's when an individual's inclination towards having sex or dating someone based on that person's perceived racial identity. So it's very important that it's the perceived racial identity. Like, even if the person, for example, a blind person, okay, a blind person who thinks you're white but you're not, and they have sex with you even though they wouldn't, then probably this is also sexual racism. I'm sorry, like, these are very difficult concepts to grasp. So I'm struggling really hard, but I'm trying to do better. Like, this is complex stuff, okay? This is difficult. Even med school wasn't as hard as this. So it's something that I'm trying to really understand, to really get into, so I can explain it to others. It's commonly used to describe the tendency for white people, oh look, he's talking about me, to exclude certain ethnic groups from their sexual and romantic life based on their preferences. All right, I think I need to step in a little bit because, again, my heart is willing to end sexual racism, but my cock is not. And my cock is very important in this conversation. You see, there is this Romanian saying, full of wisdom. Our elders used to constantly tell it to the kids. The dick has a mind of its own. So if you want to talk about sexual racism and ending it, I strongly suggest you speak to my penis. All right, like, we can schedule something, like we can have a Skype call or, you know, whatever you kids use these days, Zoom or whatever, right? And I can get my penis in order to talk to you, and you can lecture to it about whatever it is you want, and then you can see if you can establish a connection or something, and if my penis just refuses, then you can have a campaign to get him deplatformed and get my penis fired, because obviously that is the correct way of handling someone that doesn't change their mind. Okay? So if you contact me, maybe we can arrange something like that. Moving on to the police. Apparently, they are going to use streetlight footage in order to investigate protesters. This is horrible because we cannot pee on the streetlight footage. But all jokes aside, though, wasn't Alex Jones, of all people, warning against this? And it was saying, look, if you're going to have streetlight footage, eventually the government is going to do this. People called him crazy, but others called him a prophet. Now, apparently the footage and the technology for the surveillance doesn't work. Yet. I mean, we know that technology advances. It's to the point where all of social media has algorithms that allow them to censor and ban things that they wouldn't be able to do it without the algorithm. So my problem with this isn't that the technology doesn't work, ACLU. My problem with this is that this is a little bit of an invasion in privacy. And while you can agree or disagree with the protest right now and blah, 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 I'm very not comfortable with living into a country that is operating under a surveillance state. But hey, I guess what do I know? You know, I'm just like a little Romanian here reading the news. So make of it as you will. I personally do not like this. I'm not okay with this. I didn't vote for this. I wish it would stop. Speaking of surveillance, every now and then we remind ourselves that, yeah, there is a pandemic running around and authorities are doing their best in order to fight it. Now, one of the ways they are trying to tackle it is with contact tracers. And in New York City, I understand that the tracers will not ask individuals if they took part in a protest or not. Instead, relying on them to cough up the information themselves, officials said. Now, I am really concerned about this because I hope this does not apply to Trump protests. So if someone goes to a Trump protest, I think that the tracer should inform people that he was at the protest. But if he's at an anti-racist rally, then the tracer should look the other way. I think it's only fair and balanced and decent. And the final news that I have about the police today is that San Francisco police has managed to fix the problem with systemic racism once and for all. And they realized that by releasing the mugshots of the people arresting, they are creating and perpetuating racial stereotypes. So they're going to stop doing this unless one of these individuals poses a threat to public safety. Now, I personally, as a person who finished law school, would say that it's not okay to release mugshots of people arrested because they're innocent until proven guilty. But that's not the reason they decided to stop doing it. The reason is to fight against stereotypes. I'm pretty sure everyone is now going to stop being stereotypical. Because how can you be stereotypical if you don't see mugshots? Huh? Good luck arguing with that. You know, like, do you want me to get Vosh to debate you on the issue? Like, if there are no mugshots, then you can't be stereotypical. Logic. Are you not entertained? Am I not providing for you? Am I not doing the best to deliver you the news of the week? Do you know how I managed to do it? I learned from the journalists. That's how. I go on the media and I see how do they do it. And I try to copy and emulate them because they're professionals, unlike me. And they talk about important issues, important stuff, unlike the crap that I present here. I mean, let's read a little bit from The Guardian. It's time for the wine industry stop taking safe stances to keep its primarily white audience. What the fuck? Remember when the newspapers had to have like comics and like the funny caricatures in order to make people laugh? Nowadays you just read The Guardian. Look, oh my god, look at this. The moment a woman kicks a swan while it is mating, before onlooker who tries to intervene is pushed into the water as police chief issues appeal. Oh my god, no, I gotta see this. Do you guys want to see this? I mean, let's watch this together. No, this has to be magical. Like, this probably will win the 2020 award for this year is stupid. So what on earth is with all the beeping? Is that like Morse code for what the fuck is wrong with the world now? I think it's the quarantine. It's making people crazy. Like, none of that made sense. Why did the woman suddenly decide to bother the swan? I mean, was she jealous that she's not getting any? And then, I get like why the guy tried to stop her, but why did someone push the guy into the water? Like, what if the guy couldn't swim? Makes absolutely no sense. Well, I guess if he couldn't swim, you would say, well, maybe the Little Mermaid could help him, right? I mean, the Little Mermaid does help people that are drowning. Well, no, she can't help anyone now. Do you know why? Because she's a racist. The Little Mermaid, not only is she a racist, but she's being misspeciesed. She's a racist fish. And apparently an expert on Hans Christian Andersen says it's hard to see what is racist about the fairy tale. Oh my god, Mr. Hans, you do not know. Just Google anything you want, like insert word is racist. My favorite one is smiling is racist. I mean, you know, like, do this exercise. Just pick something, whatever you want, Google it, and you will find out not only that it is racist, but also why it is racist. Finally, I have found some real news. No comedy, no haha, no yak yak, just the news. And this is from The Guardian. Pulitzer winner, 2014. Important stuff. Facebook policy changes fail to quell advertisers' revolt as Coca-Cola pulls ads. Now, I can't actually read the article because I would have to register, and I don't want to do that. So we're just going to read the article like a left-leaning person would. You know, you just read the title. So if you read the title, like, what would you understand? Like, you would understand that certain advertisers, including Coca-Cola, have decided to pull away from Facebook, right? And Facebook decided to change its policy in order to try and quell the revolt, but it didn't work. Like, this is what I get from the title. Meanwhile, in the real world, on June the 26th, so this is from last month, all right? Like, today it's This Week in Stupid, 5th of July, 2020. So it's not like The Guardian didn't know about it. Coca-Cola on Friday announced it will be pausing paid advertising on all social media platforms. So not just Facebook. And they clarified it was not joining the official boycott, but they are just pausing the advertisement. And the reason they're doing this is because of the very polarized culture that we're having right now, and Coca-Cola doesn't want to have anything to do with it. So notice how The Guardian, with this title, is not lying, but they don't have to. They're just misleading. They lead you to believe that Coca-Cola is part of the other advertisers that have pulled away due to this revolt that they have against Facebook. And they also make it sound like Facebook has done policy changes as a way to get these advertisers back, but it didn't work, and Coca-Cola also pulled out. So I guess this is the lesson that The Guardian is teaching me, huh? To make my videos very manipulative in title. Not really lying, but making sure that a person who reads it at a first glance doesn't really understand what it's about. Like, they will definitely leave with a different impression than that what has transpired in reality. Why do you think they do this, though? Like, why is The Guardian trying to mislead people like that? Is it incompetence or malice? Which one do you think? Meanwhile, again, in the real world, Mark Zuckerberg reported said Facebook is not going to change in response to a boycott by more than 500 advertisers over the company's hate speech policies. And if you don't know what this is about, Donald Trump had a tweet that Twitter flagged as hateful. Yes, the US president said that he is going to bring law and order or something along those lines, and Twitter said, no, that is hate speech. Law and order is hateful, okay? Just shut up. And Facebook refused to do that. So because Facebook refused to do that, you have 500 advertisers pulling out at the pressure of righteous far-left activists. And Facebook is saying, okay, we're not going to change. And they say that the reason they're not going to change is also that these advertisers only represent a small percent of Facebook's revenue. And they predicted that the advertisers will return to the platform soon enough. Most of their advertisements come from small business owners. And it kind of makes sense. I mean, on my page, I have a lot of groups for my town, for my neighborhood, for my high school. Small advertisers want to target these people. Like if you have a small kiosk that operates in a city, you would want to target Facebook groups that have people interacting and talking about that particular city. It's very effective that way. So Facebook legitimately does not care about these 500 advertisers that are going to come back anyway, according to Zook. So what do we say to the god of the press when they try to mislead us like The Guardian did? We say, not today. But while the god of the press is unable to deceive me, it is very capable of selling me outrage. Look at this. At Mount Rushmore, Trump exploits social divisions, warns of left-wing cultural revolution, in dark speech ahead of Independence Day. And I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, like, what did he say? You know, Orange Man, horrible. Apparently, and by the way, they wanted to cancel Mount Rushmore. Like, this is a by the by. Like, you don't understand. I have only a quarter of the news that come up every week in this show. Like, if I were to go through all of the news, then it would take at least 2 hours, if sometimes even 3, to cover all of it. You know? Just pointing it out, just throwing that so you can understand, right? No, they want to cancel Mount Rushmore. They want to, and I'm literally curious, like, if the Statue of Liberty was smaller and not on an island, would they topple it as well? Because you have to ask yourself this question at one point, you know? Like, even the elk wasn't safe. Why would the Statue of Liberty be? But anyway, I looked at the speech of Trump, and apparently he doesn't like people taking down monuments, and he's going to build more monuments of what he considers to be American heroes. And he does consider that, you know, people taking down statues of Thomas Jefferson and Washington and all the other bigots is the equivalent of a cultural revolution. And apparently, like, saying this means that you're exploiting social divisions. My brain. I think like I have a little blood coming out of my nose right now because I made an aneurysm. Just give me a little bit to recover, and then I'll be right back.
This will help you remember.
So look at this. A surprising new study found that the controversial anti-malarial drug helped patients better survive in the hospital. And a couple of months ago, it was over the past few weeks, President Trump has made several erroneous statements relating to the studies of these drugs. These are the facts. Well, I thank you for providing me the facts on the right, CNN. Good journalism! Good journalism! Man, I love doing this. Do you guys want to do it again?
This will help you remember.
So look at this gem. Warwick Labour is disgusted by the recent interview of some guy that I don't know. To say that defunding the police is nonsense is a slap in the face to all those black academics and activists who have been working on conceptualizing a just society for so long. Now, who are we to throw slap in the faces of the black academics and activists who have been working on conceptualizing a justice society for so long? Who would be an asshole to do something like, what type of person would do something like, oh, Warwick Labour did it. Vote Labour on May the 5th in police and crime. Commissioner elections to fight against police cuts and increased crime. You know what I noticed? And this is like starting to be a pattern. Isn't it that socialism seems to be the answer for literally every single major problem we face? What is the solution for racism? Socialism. What is the solution for climate change? Socialism. What is the solution for economic problems? Socialism. I mean, literally, like if I'm constipated tomorrow and I go to the toilet and I can't take a shit, I think if we were under socialism, I would be able to do that. Every single problem. It's just, how could I not see it? How can you not see it? It's right there. So either socialism is the solution for every single problem, or maybe, just maybe, socialism is something really unappealing that the overwhelming majority of people do not want. So socialists try to push their ideology as a Trojan horse as being the answer to other problems that people constantly face. Now, look, here's a problem that I'm pretty sure socialism will fix. Top anti-racist Democrat staffer. Okay? Not just any Democrat staffer, an anti-racist one, and not just that, a top. She is all the way up at the top. Was caught tweeting naughty things, targeting Asians, Indians. And oh my God, look, how can you say it? Like Carlos Maza, how can he sleep at night knowing that this lady called the LGBT community not just homo, but super homo? Oh my God. Like, okay, so I fully disavow, like, oh my God, in a blistering display of hypocrisy, a Democratic congressman's senior staffer used the N-word over 20 times in the space of 4 months. She just couldn't help herself. She was like a rapper. I think she mistook the profession. As well as sharing a number of other anti-Indian, anti-Asian, and anti-gay slurs. The individual who refused to comment for this story has referred to Speaker Nancy Pelosi as a close personal friend on social media. So Nancy Pelosi was probably aware of this shenanigans. But let me explain to you how anti-racism works, okay? Because I've been reading a lot of books. Like, I've been told by people to educate myself. And you know what? I did educate myself. So what you're seeing here is not really hypocrisy. Do you guys remember those movies where you have like someone like Hackerman? And Hackerman is like a really great hacker. In fact, he's probably the best in the world. And he manages to hack into banks and stuff. And then he gets caught by the police. And the FBI gives him a deal. Like, do you want to go to prison or do you want to work for us? So we can catch other hackers. And this is exactly what is going on here. You see, the Democrat Party has found this racist woman. And when she was caught, they offered her a deal. Like, do you want to get fired or do you want to work for us so you can catch other racists? And this is how she managed to land a job and a position as the top staffer of anti-racism, because she's so racist that it's impossible to sneak racism past her, because she would notice, she would know it. It's like, she recognized that because she did it in the past. So she recognized it, and that's when she goes after the crime. So rest assured, there is no hypocrisy here. There you go. See, this is why you watch my channel. In order for me to translate the word to you, to make sense of what is actually happening in the world, because otherwise you wouldn't know. You would think it's hypocritical, but it's not. Like, for example, she can be useful in figuring out that this 13-ton shipments of human hair weaves, which have been believed to be cut from prisoners in Chinese internment camps. Okay, like, she's so racist, she knows, like, oh, wait a minute, hair from China? If I was the chairman of China, what would I do? You know what I would do? I would cut the hair of prisoners and sell them to the United States. And she was like, nope. Huh? Is this probably what happened? This is what I think happened. Or is she just specialized on Twitter? I don't know. Like, maybe she's just specialized on... Because, like, racism is a broad definition, but they're, like, specializations on it. It's like, you can be racist on Twitter. You know, you can be racist at the border. So, I don't know, like, maybe she's just on the Twitter area. And this is, like, some other anti-racist that figured it out. Do you guys... How long is this video? My God. Anyway, the editing is going to be horrible. You know, for every minute of video, there's like 5 minutes of editing. Anyway, want to hear something funny? I mean, this is going to be very difficult to explain because, wow, like when I saw it, I didn't believe it. Like I had to read this like 4 or 5 times, but okay. Stop what you're doing and pay attention, because this is just something that will blow your mind off. Like, you're not going to believe what I'm going to say. So, in the past, Rachel Maddow accused an organization called the OAN of being literally funded by Russia. So that's what she says. They are literally funded by Russia. So OAN decided to sue her for slander. What do you think was Rachel Maddow's defense? Her defense was that she's not a real journalist. I'm not making this up. Like, no. And she won. Like, there is now official court documents stating that, or implying that Rachel Maddow is fake news. But not only that, the judge even went further. And like, I had to create a protection shield around my brain so I don't get a second aneurysm. When she said that they are literally funded by the Russians, the judge considers that that is not like literally. Like it was her opinion. I'm legitimately curious, like, if this is not slander, how would slander look like for this judge? Like, what exactly would you need in order for this judge to go like, yeah, no, that's against the law? God. California is the place that constantly delivers, day and night. Now, I would like to end this by thanking the anti-racist protesters who allegedly risked their lives by bringing us the best memes on the internet in 2020. So, as they decided to violate a couple's private property, they were met with threats of force by the McClowskis, or as the internet likes to call them, the US Gravy Seals. This should be made into a statue, like this. This should be in a museum. Everything about this is worth discussing at least 10 minutes. The smudge of mustard on her shirt, the triggering way on which she holds the gun, the memes that are flowing from this. So it would take me hours upon hours to unpack just this picture alone. But there is another YouTuber that managed to somehow do what I can't do. He managed to compile all of this discussion in 1 minute. Now, I think it's fair use if I include his video here. Normally I wouldn't do this, but it's just like, there is no other way I can explain to you my thoughts and opinions on this, like Freedom Toones have. Like, he managed to get to the essence of the fact, and I don't think like I can do it with words. So I will play you his video, and if he asks me to trim this content and remove his video, I will. So if you don't see a video playing after this, then it's because he asked me to remove it. But there is a link to his channel in the description. I strongly encourage you to go check out his stuff, because once I'm gone from YouTube, once they come after me and deplatform me, I'm pretty sure Freedom Toones is still safe. Like, he just makes cartoons, he just makes satirical points, and he is a great channel to watch. So let's watch the video.
Get out of my neighborhood! Go! Leave me alone!
Fine, fine. Stop crying. I'll get rid of the gun. There.
You know, I just realized that by showing this clip, I probably got this video demonetized. Because, like, violent content, huh? Something like that? Yeah. Please don't copyright strike me, bro. If you want me to take that segment down, I will. But everyone else, you should go to his channel. Link in the description. Now, as I go, I will leave you with one picture. I found it on Reddit. It's called Spot the Racist. Let me know in the comment sections if you managed to do it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.